thing that we all truly want in our life is happiness. Isn't it? And we work very hard to get the happiness in life. And we know we want it. But why is it that we have everything but that? And we lose it very quickly. We may be happy for a few moments and then all of a sudden it replaces with sadness. So why is it? Let's just take one moment of this meditation hour to reflect upon our lives. Everyone, think in your mind. What is it? What exactly it is that takes my happiness away from me? And we all have different reasons. So you need to think of your life and see what is it that is coming as an obstruction between me and in my happiness. Anyone wants to share what they thought that takes away the happiness sometimes?
Thinking of the past and the future, not the moment.
Very good.
Greediness, you get greedier, you always want more, and you always look at other people and you always get jealous. That really stresses you out.
Very
Lot of
good.
competition out there right now.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Big
Yes.
stress.
Yes. What else? Very good responses. So, expectations, right? We expect something from someone and the person didn't do it, and that instantly takes my smiles away, right? Sometimes we miss people and that causes stress. You know, we may be from other country and our loved ones are in home, and thought of that timelines, relationships. But if you really look at it, in all these circumstances, what happens? It's always about the other person or other situation that's taking my happiness away. It's never me. You mentioned stress. It's about competition with someone. So who's taking my happiness away? Someone else. It's not me, right? In that case, it's a situation, past, something that happened in the past. One thought about that past and instantly it took my happiness away. Or future, anxious about future, what's going to happen? Took my happiness away. So, the reason why I wanted to start this session with this question, self-study, that what is it for me? Because it can be different for everyone. But do we take the time to think it through? Think about it. When one of your friends come to you and they ask you for your advice, that they're going through certain problems in life and they ask you for your advice, what do? First you listen to them and then you come out with a solution, right? So you're listening first to them, then only you know what can be the right solution. And once you listen carefully, then it becomes very easy for you to find a solution, isn't it? You don't just see the face and start giving your suggestions. Exactly the same way, when we think about what is my problem, what's the problem that's taking my happiness away, and it could be different from others, then you can get to the root of that very easily and you can eliminate that, just like you do it for your friends. It's as easy. But the problem is we don't take the time to find out what's taking my happiness away from me. So it's always about others. Our happiness leaves us because our focus is on others. From morning till evening, what do? Constantly we are thinking. When we leave home, going to work in the train, or if you're commuting, by a car and there's another person sitting next to us, we're constantly thinking what they haven't done right and what they did right and why they didn't do. If I were him, I should be doing this, isn't it? Constantly thinking about others, no matter where we are, and diagnosing them and their problems. That what is her problem? And I think this is his problem, right? So in our mind, what we are thinking, that they have a problem, and when they will fix their problem, then I will be happy. If they become better and they do things the way I think is right, then I will be happy. But till that time, I will continue to be stressed. Right? So I don't need to work hard to do anything to bring my happiness back. It's all about them. And guess what? They're thinking the same about you. They are spending their entire day diagnosing you that they are wrong, and when they will do something right, that's when I will be happy. And yogic science teaches us that happiness is something that you're born with. When you look at the child is always happy. Because child has not acquired these layers of unessential emotions, the stress, the greed, right? The competition, pain, anger. Child is always happy, so innocent, so divine. Because child is born with that happiness. Happiness is one of the many qualities of soul that we all are born with. We don't need to acquire it from outside. So all we do is when we focus on only ourselves, and not think of other people and not think of the situations, but only focus on ourselves and gain this higher knowledge, that it's as easy as attaining anything else, then we get it. It's like cleansing your mind and gaining knowledge and working towards it. Because think about it, even if it's other person's fault, when we are doing something and it's a team effort and other person makes a mistake and we are reacting, whose loss is this? I'm reacting, so my blood pressure is going up, my inner pain in my heart is increasing, right? And I'm bleeding from inside, and outside I'm giving a superficial smile. Whose loss is it? Is the other person losing or am I losing? So whenever we react to things that happen because of other people, even though others are wrong, but the reaction takes place inside us, and that's what continues to stress us. That's what takes our happiness away. Think about it. When we all go out and eat in a restaurant and we come back, sometimes we have food virus, right? Stomach issues. So we went to the restaurant, maybe there was some contamination in their kitchen, or maybe chef did something. The problem was with the restaurant, with the chef. Who's suffering? Me, right? And I need to take care of who? Not the restaurant, not the chef, but I need to take care of me. I need to take some medicine, or I need to flush out that so I stay healthy. So in the end, it's all about me, to protect myself. Then competition can be there, and People can be there and situations can be there, but nothing can move me, nothing can touch me. This is what happens when you become yogic, when you start doing yogic practices, when you start gaining yogic knowledge. Then the outer environment cannot touch you from inside. The outer cannot touch you. Think about it. When we meet someone, we go to the hospital to visit one of our friend who is a patient there. What do? After we meet, we come back from the hospital, we wash our hands, right? We want to make sure that there is, we are not carrying any bacteria. What do? We protect ourselves, right? Exactly the same way, when we meet certain circumstances or certain people who are negative or circumstances are challenging, what do? We need to wash our mind. Just like we wash our hands, we need to wash our mind every hour. Think, who did I meet? And maybe that person was not very pleasant and said something, but I need to protect myself. So wash your mind that hour, then move on to the next hour, and then move on to the next hour. And watch, at the end of the day, you are not stressed. You are very happy and you're so calm. So washing is something that's done by meditation, by breathing practices, by doing yoga practices. I start this session with the higher knowledge only because I think this is yoga of brain. If something doesn't get in here, then you cannot practice with the same intensity and you cannot be disciplined. So first, words of wisdom, it's yoga for brain. Your mind, if it agrees and it becomes interested in certain practices, then doing is very easy. It needs to be sold to the mind first, isn't it? The moment your mind says, oh yeah, this is right for me, doing is as easy as it can be. But problem comes in when mind is saying, oh no, I don't know. It may help me or it may not help me. Then doing becomes very difficult. Another example I'm going to give you. We all love to take care of our possessions so well. So think about, I buy this very beautiful piece of furniture, light color, and I'm sitting and drinking tea. And my child comes and somehow, spills the tea on that light color sofa. Now there's a stain. What do? Instantly we get up and clean it. Am I right? Do you wait till you finish your tea and then clean it? No, right? Do you wait for any other reason? What do? You put your tea on the side, instantly you go outside and get the cleansers, clean it right away, right? And then you move on, continuing drinking tea. So we love our sofa so much that we take such good care of it, we don't even wait. What about loving ourselves? Wish we love the same way our own self, where if someone has created negativity in my mind or some situation has caused some pain, how about washing it right away? Sit down, do your 10 deep breaths and then watch your thought in your mind, check, edit, change and start thinking positive and then move on to the next hour. How about that? And when we start practicing this, where every hour we think, what did I think wrong? Why did I think this negative stuff about others? And then cleanse it. You know what happens instantly? The power inside us, the inner strength starts to rise upwards. And that's when, if we do that 10 times, 15 times, and then for one full month, in the end of the month, now that becomes part of me. Now I don't need to train my mind to do it. Automatically, this is how I start living my life. That becomes way of life. then no matter how much competition there is, no matter how bad of a past I had, no matter how much anxiety exists about future, but it's not for me. It's not going to touch me. I always stays protected. This is the power of yoga. This is the power of higher knowledge. This is the power of meditation. That continuous cleansing brings so much purity, where your mind only thinks positive, where you only feel happy, where only stay healthy, where always calm. So we are born like that. Happiness, peace, calmness are the qualities of spirit that we are born with. But when we go through these experiences of life where there were challenges, some unpleasant thing may have happened in the past, so that creates layers of pain, agony, stress, jealousy, greed, worry. All these layers start to take place. And then we forget who we are. Then we start to operate with those kinds of unessential emotions. Because the more we do that, the more we become habitual of living life that same way. Think about it. If we didn't clean that sofa and we let that tea keep spilling every day, at the end of the year, you will not be able to recognize the color of the sofa, isn't it? The color will change. Exactly the same way, when we don't do this practice of cleansing our mind, then the original qualities of love, peace, happiness are changed, and they turn into pain, stress, worry, jealousy, greed, loneliness, depression, sadness, and whatnot. So yoga is there to remind you who you are. You are not all this, what you're feeling in this world. You are so much more than that. Your original quality is that divine love, that purity, that light, that strength, that happiness, peace. So when you know and you're reminded about your strengths, then you never feel weak. So in our life, small things take place every day that we don't like, and that causes irritation. And then that becomes our sanskara, that becomes our habit to be angry at everything that happens to me. It becomes our habit. Think about it, that if you are a musician, then what do? You like to keep all your music equipment very close to you. Anytime you get time, what do? You end up playing that music. If you are a player, then you would like to keep all your sports stuff very close to you. The moment you find time, instantly you start practicing. You keep what you love closest. When you start getting angry on things or irritated or start worrying about something, guess what quality of your own you're keeping the closest? So the moment you find an opportunity or an excuse, instantly you're going to burst, because that's the quality closest to you. It has the top memory. It has the top layer right here. Instantly you pull it and you spit out, and then you are in pain and you're hurting. So what do we need to do? The acquired qualities of stress, pain, jealousy, anger, sadness, we need to create a new recording on the top of that. So when we do these yogic practices, a new recording is going to be made, where now new layer is being created, and that layer is of happiness. And then we do it one more time, another layer of peace, and then we do other interaction, that's a layer of positivity. So the old recording is going to be erased, and now your life is going to be operated out of new recordings. So what do? before we start our yogic stretches. So what do? How do we obtain this kind of life that is filled with happiness, that I'm never sad, that I'm never worried, that I'm never competing, that I'll never have stress? Yes, it is possible. First, believe. Don't say in your mind it's not possible. Yes, it is possible to stay happy all the times. Isn't it? People say when good things happen, don't get too excited. Don't be that happy. Why not? Do we need to be happy only few minutes of a day? I mean, why shouldn't we be happy 100% of the times? But we, even when we are happy, then also we tell each other, don't be too happy. We're scared of being happy all day too. Am I right or wrong? Don't we say that in each other's conversations? Don't be too excited. Don't be happy. So now we need to be, in our mind we have done a programming that we should be happy for less time. And then that's what we attract. So what things we need to do? First, think in your mind all the people, mostly it's your loved ones, that bring that sadness or unhappiness or reaction in your mind. Give you an example. Say that I'm a very clean person and I keep my home very clean, and my husband comes in and he puts his socks here and shoes here and shirt here, right? And I get very angry. And it's been happening for 20 years, and every day I get angry. Who's hurting? Me. So these kinds of situations we all are faced in our life, where our loved ones are doing things that we don't approve or agree. So we need to change our thinking patterns. Accept people the way they are and not react and not give yourself pain. So first thing is, stop thinking about others and always think about yourself and protect yourself from these situations. Second thing is, first think, then do whatever you're doing. In these days, what we are doing, we go ahead and do whatever we want to do and then think later, oh, I shouldn't have done this. Always the opposite. Always think once, twice, thrice. Because once that word has come out of your mouth, it can never be taken back. So think and then do. And then you'll see, you never have to use the word sorry. How many times you use sorry? You never will have to use the word sorry because you're thinking. And when we do yogic practices, our mind becomes so sharp, our intellectual powers become so high that time comes where you don't need to think about living this way. Every word that you utter is positive. Everything that you think is positive. Every reaction that you have is positive. It's called training of mind that happens when we do yogic practices. But not just yoga postures that you do in yoga studios. You need to think, digest this knowledge, and then start living this knowledge. And then when you top it off with yogic practices, then you see that your life is changing. Then you think, yesterday it happened and I reacted, but today when it happened, I didn't react. I was so happy. And then you see your life starts to transform. Another thing that we need to do is not be guilty. If we ever do something wrong, say I did something wrong in the past. I did that wrong once. But by thinking again and again and again, I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. What I am doing? I am creating so much pain, and this is depleting my energy. So what do I need to do instead of guilt? Because guilt takes away the happiness from your life. Instead of being guilty, now I have to do self-realization. And what is the definition of self-realization? Self-realization is preparation for the future. That how am I going to live my life? That's done now. Whatever happened in the past, that's done. It cannot be undone. So why keep thinking and punishing yourself and being guilty instantly is going to deplete you and bring that negative energy in you. No. Self-realization today that this morning I'm going to start out right. Because if we continue to allow our mind to think negative and allow this world to continue to throw the darts of anger and pain at you, then what happens? Slowly, our inner power starts to leave us. We become very weak. Then anything happens in our life, we fall apart right away. Where the strength of our mind is so little that it does not have the ability to take on any challenging situation or any negative word or insulting word that this world says to us. And instantly we fall apart and now we are in depression. So no more guilty. We are human beings. We are bound to make mistakes. Learn and never make sure it's repeated. Don't ever repeat the same mistake, and watch, you're going to become a better and better human being. And it's only possible when you first think and then act. And thinking power, mental power can only be increased by yogic practices. Because it's one thing that washes you, cleanses you every day, it shines you, it brings light there, and wherever there is light, dark forces of anger and pain and worry can never stay. So with yogic practices, with yogic knowledge, our spirit's power starts to increase in abundance. And when our inner power, our power of our spirit continues to increase every day with these daily practices, then the outer world's situations, happenings, pain, negativity can never touch us. And we continue to enjoy life and we manifest our happiness. No matter where we are, what we are doing, doesn't matter. We are always happy, fearless, independent, positive, strong, confident personality. And that's what it takes to live this life beautifully. So with these words of wisdom, we will stand up and do our yogic stretches.